Hello dear viewer, I am Delusional, your host here. Although I think you already knew that, didn't you? You see, I like to watch pilots of shows and imagine what the rest of the show would be like. Not really, but play along with me here. You see, I watch the pilot of the show and think, ponder, speculate, like the government speculates on how much money I make from my rare Easter egg collection business, and come to a conclusion. How often is this conclusion correct? I'm not sure. I'd guess maybe 3% of the time or so. In this particular instance of me unsuccessfully gambling, which isn't often, trust me, I clean casinos out. They call me Mr. Clean Out Casinos. This time I did it with Sex in the City. You know the show that nobody knows is a show? Well, it is. And before anything else, that movie, and I'm talking about the first one, Lord knows I'd rather be strapped into a chair and have my toenails ripped out while Ed Sheeran plays in the background before watching any of those monstrosities or so-called movies. Anyway, the movies are awful and so is the show, but I didn't know that when I watched the pilot. The pilot of Sex in the City is so good that it hooked me, the most masculine man in the world, naked bear wrestler and all, to watch the entire series and watch one of the movies. Don't believe me? Here's a quick rant from the script I had written back in October, I think. The first two seasons culminate in the rejection of Carrie by Mr. Big. It didn't work out and Carrie has to move on because in life you rarely get a magical happy ending. That is until the next season where they have an affair, and the season after that where they become friends, and after that Carrie rejects Aiden because she isn't ready to be married, and after that Carrie hooks up with some fucking Russian only to get back with Mr. Big for real this time. You see what I mean? After the end of the second season they keep Mr. Big around for no good reason, and in the movie it's also a big waste of time. Mr. Big decides he wants to get married and Carrie agrees. But what about Aiden? That's fine though, Carrie has become older, maybe she's ready now. But what about Mr. Big? He suddenly gets cold feet and leaves the wedding on his wedding day. Follow that up with a strikingly dramatic scene only for the rest of the movie to drag on. And for what? For Carrie to forgive Mr. Big? What? In the span of less than a year, Carrie got over the fact that she was stood up at her own wedding? Do you seriously think I'm gonna believe that? Really? Off of the movie to end with Mr. Big and Carrie getting married at downtown. You see, dear viewer, I'm a real hitter, a real shooter, some might say, a big stepper. I can watch feminine shows and be totally cool about it because I care about art. Capital A, capital R, capital T, art. The problem with the show is that the pilot is a lie. The show is not a grand subversive play on the romantic comedy by styling it as a noir like it so excellently does in the pilot. It becomes, in my opinion, worthless drivel that is the exact same thing that it avoided being in the first place. But what made me think this in the first place? What exactly does the Sex and the City pilot go about being a glitzy noir piece about sex and love in Manhattan? To understand what is going on, we must begin in what the actual hell is a noir. Ask 3 different people if they know what a noir is and they will all say no. The word noir is used by losers like myself to describe a movie that is vaguely critical of society, that is serious in tone, that is dark and often looks like shit. That last part is dependent on when the movie or show was filmed. Noir is basically most typically applied to stories that follow a detective on an investigation and features larger critiques towards society or something larger at hand. It might be the government, social situations, or your grandma's raising cookies, which are terrible. Sorry, Nan. It also has a narrator sometimes, although it isn't necessary. So, can you use the definition that I just gave you to dictate what's a noir film? Yes and no. Mostly no. Look at Dirty Harry, for example. Is that a noir film? Maybe. It has a detective looking for a serial killer and it attempts to say something about society, but is it a noir? On IMDb, or was it IMBD? There is no noir tag for Dirty Harry. There isn't a noir tag in general. It's a fake genre, for whatever that's worth. Would I consider Dirty Harry a noir film? Yes, but others would consider it a neo-noir or new noir. You see, noir as a type of film is very old, even older than the cheese in your fridge. Please, just throw it out. Blue cheese isn't real. Come on. Anyway, neo-noir is basically noir films made in the modern era, and by modern I mean like 50 years ago or something. Another example of neo-noir is John Wick for some reason. You look up neo-noir films and you're gonna see John Wick on at least one list, and that surprises me because you get a movie like Dirty Harry, which admittedly is also a little ridiculous towards the end, especially when he gets on that bus, but you compare a slow, clunky thriller like Dirty Harry to a twitch, fast-paced tactical shooter action like John Wick, and you just can't help but wonder, what exactly do these two movies have in common? But that's neither here nor there. You want to know my pick for the bar, the standard, the baseline of noir films? That'd be Chinatown, dear viewer. Yes, Roman Polanski's classic noir in the city of Los Angeles doing something funny with the water. No Bill Cosby. Anyway, Chinatown is an absolute classic, and I think your grandpa agrees, because it would have been your grandpa who remembers Chinatown coming out. Slow, deliberate, just the right amount of romance, and leaving you wanting more even though you know it's bad for you. Chinatown exemplifies the investigation aspect of noir films, digging a hole deeper and deeper until you find the rotten core of the whole thing. Another movie, possibly being inspired from Chinatown, is LA Confidential. Russell Crowe, Danny DeVito, Kevin Spacey, and Guy Pearce. Star-studded cast for this crime thriller set in the City of Angels or the City of Stars. Not as good as Chinatown, but I'm sure your dad remembers this one coming out. And LA Confidential demonstrates that you need people in your story, real people who look out for themselves and choose themselves over good. But at the same time, having people desperate for the truth and burning with justice, scorching light.
You fuck young boys, Valdez.
Are you a madman? This will cause an international incident.
That leads me to this, dear viewer. LA Noir, a game many have not played, but that is something that should be changed because a sequel will be more than welcome. Developed by Team Bondi in the Down Under and published by Rockstar Games, LA Noir looks at LA Confidential and promises not to copy word for word, but nevertheless is a very good game. This is where all the aspects of the noir genre are explored, dear viewer. You investigate, you interrogate, you integrate. No, that can't be right. My mistake, dear viewer. That should say you investigate and interrogate ingrates. LA Noir puts you in the shoes of Detective Phelps, and avoiding spoilers lets you uncover the corrupted roots of the LAPD in the 40s. You are immersed into the story because through Phelps you are in the role of the detective. You are in the beating heart of the dirty city and you must be the one to clean it. But what about if we flip this concept on its very head, keep you in the strappy sandals of the investigator, but instead of looking into a potentially heinous corrupt police department, you look for something much more important: the sex lives and relationships of the upper crust of Manhattan. Yes, dear viewer, we're back. Enter Sex in the City. Carrie Bradshaw, a columnist who investigates the sex lives of the residents of Manhattan. In this pilot, you are not only taken into the world of Carrie Bradshaw, sex specialist extraordinaire, by her talking directly into the camera, but are also immersed in the noir styling of the show. From the neon lights in the city to the gritty, foul nature and how the scenes are shot, you are quite literally watching a yassified noir thriller. The most unique aspect of this pilot is the fact that Carrie Bradshaw is conducting an investigation if having sex like a man is actually something viable in modern day Manhattan. By modern day, I mean like 30 years ago. Anyway, you have different perspectives, different avenues of thought for Carrie to explore, different clues, some would say. This leads to Carrie attempting the very thing she is investigating, only for it to explode back in her face in true noir detective style. And at the end of it, she is left shocked and rattled by the truth revealed to her. Has she ever been in love? The writings are so clearly on the wall about this unique take on the genre that is predominantly starred by men, because apparently women can't be sad, lonely, disgruntled individuals who want to know the truth and have a friend at the bottom of the bottle. But this Sex and the City pilot not only approaches a tried genre with a unique perspective, but also adds to it with the ordinary talking heads commentary. These segments are unfortunately killed off in the same season, but really offer a perspective that isn't Carrie's or the opinion of a group of misfits. It makes the city feel alive instead of a vague entity that is hostile towards the main character, even if it is occasionally. Unfortunately, this style wasn't meant to last. You see, the interesting situation of this pilot is that it was filmed a year before the show started proper, back in '97, with the show's first season being released in '98. I haven't done extensive research, but from what I could surmise, it was because of a conflict of direction between Sarah Jessica Parker and Darren Star, the ideas man behind the show. And I'm not about to blame Mrs. Parker for potentially killing a show in its infancy that could have been a neo-noir thriller starring a female character, first of its kind and potentially a classic in the television pantheon, discussed in the same way shows like The Sopranos and Breaking Bad are. But I'm gonna put the blame on somebody, and I choose to blame her. For the show went from interesting noir to generic rom-com schlock, and nothing hurts me more. At the end of the 98 episodes that the show lasted, and especially at the end of the movie, I felt an overwhelming sense that I had just wasted my time. Weeks of my life invested into this one show when in reality, I should have just stopped at the pilot because it's arguably the best episode in this damn show. Anyway, dear viewer, I've been your host, really shitty monologuist, and as always, goodbye.